circle should be a red square.
Numbers are going.
Should have
Numbers are
numbers
going.
up to the
They're
top,
going.
right?
Yes.
All right. Theo, this is your cousin, Declan, and I, and we are going to read this story to you. It's called
Otis and the Tornado.
Otis and the Tornado, you bet. So we'll start out here. Otis is the friendly little tractor, and we start out, and we know that it's going to be about a storm. Otis and the Tornado. Now, Otis lives on a farm with lots of different animals.
Here we go.
And all of the animals are friends except for one. And one of the animals on the farm is not their friend. Says life was calm on the farm.
And the bull was not happy.
Life was calm on the farm where the friendly little tractor named Otis lived. It was summer. The sun shined bright, the birds chirped, and after all the work was done, Otis and his friend, the little calf, liked to play. And there's a picture of Otis and his little friend, the calf, and they like to play together.
Okay.
Now we go to the next page, and it says they would. There's different pictures here, and you see what they're doing.
Oh, that's a little hazy.
I'll read it now. It says they would gather all their farm friends for a grand game of follow the leader. They would take turns being the leader as they marched along. Otis would go first. Puff, puff, puttity, chuff. Put, puff, puttity, chuff. That's how Otis sounded. Followed by the little calf who would bound ahead, bawling, "Rawr," all the while. Soon the horse would trot to the head with a hey, as his hooves clip, clop, and they were playing follow the lead. Finally, the ducks would waddle to the front with a chorus of quack, 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 quack. Or I could do this. And they all followed the leader up by the apple tree, around the barn, down the rolling hill past Mud Pond, beyond the cornfield, across the meadow, and along the banks of Mud Creek. What a fun crowd they were. Everyone was so friendly. And see, there they all are. You got the horse and the ducks and the calf and the cow, and they're going by Mud Creek and went by Mud Pond.
And Oldest,
yeah,
the tractor.
Yep. How did he sound? How old does he sound?
But he chuff.
Very good. You'd make a good Otis. You'd make a good Otis. But everybody on the farm was friendly except
the bull.
The bull. That's
Ooh.
a big bull. It's a Hereford bull.
2-pager.
Now the reason we know it's Hereford is because he's red with a white head, and those are Hereford, the breed Hereford. If it was black, it'd be an Angus bull. But this is a Hereford bull. The bull was nobody's friend. When he was not in his pen, he was kept in a pasture all by himself.
Bad bull.
If any of the other farm animals got close, the bull would stand at the fence and snort and snarl and huff, huff, hot air. And I imagine he moved his feet back and forth, pawing at the ground too. Suddenly, with a burst, he would run back and forth along the fence. Then he would stop and glare at the other animals. And you can see right there where he's running back and forth, and then over here he's got the other animals. He just glares at them like, you step one foot inside my pen and I'll wipe you out. Yeah, he's not a very friendly thing. He just glare at them like a statue, not moving or never moving a muscle except to flare his nostrils. Yeah. The bull did not like anyone. and everyone was afraid of him. Everybody.
Except
Well,
Otis.
There's a picture of Otis there in front of the bullpen with the bull at him. And
Otis.
once Otis, he tried to make friends with the bull. What happened?
And then he gave him a shiny apple.
Yeah, didn't work though.
Nope, didn't work.
Otis took the bull a shiny red apple from the apple tree and invited him to play, but the bull snorted and snarled and glared at Otis. Then he stomped his hooves in the dirt and charged. The bull stormed into the fence just inches away from where Otis stood. From that day on, Otis stayed clear of the bull altogether. See, Otis tried to make friends with him. Brought him an apple. You can see that apple up here. And that bull didn't want anything to do with Otis. That bull didn't want anything to do with Otis or his apples, and he hit the fence.
Was very angry.
Yes. I wonder why. I wonder why he was so angry. He just was.
This was so angry. And then that happens.
Well, we'll get back up there. I didn't. This is the one with the apple. You see the apple up here? And where the bull charged right into the fence, trying to get to Otis.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the Otis gave him a shiny red apple.
Yeah, he did. He sure did.
But it didn't work.
Didn't work. That bull was sure making a mistake because that apple had been good too, I bet you. Yeah, sit down there, buddy. Sit down. One day, the farm skies began to swirl and turn dark. The winds blew and the rain come down. The animals in the barn grew restless and jittery. The skies tumbled and turned and turned and tumbled, and Otis didn't mind the rain, but there was something different about this storm that he could feel deep down in his pipes. And you can see the sky is all black, the barn back there, and everything, and looks, and there's some raindrops falling. It's a stormy, stormy time.
Is that the tornado?
Well, we don't see a tornado there, but uh-oh, here we go. All at once, the wind stopped blowing, not even a breeze, and the rain disappeared, and the sky turned a strange shade of green, and the farm fell completely still. The only sound Otis heard as he puffed toward the barn was a farmer shouting in the distance, "It's coming fast! It's coming fast! Get down in the cellar!" And you can see there, the farmers are running toward the cellar, trying to get out of the way. Something's up, because they wouldn't do that if that wasn't dangerous.
It's a tornado!
It's a tornado. We know it's a tornado, don't we? Yeah. That's what you want to do if you ever have a tornado, get down into a cellar or a basement. The farmer was in such a hurry that he had no time for the animals.
The strongest room is actually a bathroom.
What?
The strongest room is actually a bathroom.
Oh, yeah, that's the strongest room is actually your bathroom. That's right. What was all this fuss about? Otis wondered. Then he turned and saw something that rattled his frame and shook his fenders. Wow, that would have been scary. It was a tornado. Looky there, you can see back here, you see that tornado?
It was just a tornado.
It was just a tornado.
And there was a storm.
Huh? Well, tornadoes, though, they can tear everything up.
And there was a storm.
They're really dangerous. And Otis saw that tornado.
Yeah, Otis did see that tornado and
Saw it coming.
Yep.
Yep.
He saw it coming. He saw it coming.
And so what did Otis do? As he was headed straight, the tornado was heading straight toward the farm, and what would happen to all the animals left in the barn? Otis sprung into action, and he nudged the latches of a little calf stall until the door swung open, and next Otis freed the pigs and the sheep. The winds howled closer and closer, and he stretched.
Wait a minute, where are the pigs?
He stretched to unlatch the horses and the cow's door at the same time. Click, clack, the animals were free, and you can see right through the barn door here. You see right through the barn door?
Yep.
See that tornado coming?
Yeah,
That'd make me nervous. Wouldn't that
Yeah.
make you nervous,
No.
Declan?
Yeah.
It would. All right. Now, he got all the animals free. Otis was able to free them all up. They followed Otis out of the barn and into the swirling winds, and they followed him down the rolling hill, past Mud Pond, beyond the cornfield, across the meadow, over the bank, and down into Mud Creek. Look in there. Look at that.
And the bull is not
Look at how stormy it looks. You got lightning in the sky, and stormy, a tornado heading their way. My goodness.
Not very big.
And they're heading toward Mud Creek, because Mud Creek is the lowest place on the farm. That's where they want to be.
And that's where they
Tucked down at the lowest part of the farm, Otis, the little calf, and all of their farm friends felt safe. Otis sighed with relief. Now
like
they
mud.
just had to huddle together and wait it out.
Pigs like mud, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They do like mud. But just as they squeezed close and tight, Otis heard an awful bellowing cry, the sound of a large creature in trouble.
It was
The bull, he was locked in his pen. From the safety of Mud Creek, Otis saw the tornado speeding in the terrified animal's direction. And there you can see that old mean bull. He's scared to death because that tornado's coming right at him. And he's all by himself and afraid. So what does Otis do? What does he do?
He goes to the thing.
Huh?
He does.
He leaves his other friends and he goes toward the bullpen. Lightning crashed and a tornado howled. The bull screamed, and in a flash Otis was gone. He raced across the meadow, put, puff, puttity chuff, beyond the cornfields, past Mud Pond and up the rolling hill to the bullpen. Otis found the bull tucked under the shed, shaking in fear. See? There's Otis leaving his other friends in Mud Creek and heading toward the bull and the bullpen. The bull's down there in the shed, safe, trying to stay safe in the shed. But that's not going to be enough protection.
It's a bullpen.
Yeah, it's a bullpen. So, what happens next? Well, look at here. Look at all those pictures.
He slammed.
Yeah, Otis was tried to unlock the gate and couldn't get it done, and so he started ramming the fence so he could break the fence and release the
slammed into his fence.
open it so the bull could get out and get away from the tornado. Yeah.
And then he just slammed.
Otis ram, wham, ram.
Slammed.
He tried to get through the gate. It was locked. He slammed head on and through the gate, but it held firmly. He rammed again and teetered, and the bull wailed like a baby, and Otis spun around and threw himself in reverse and revved his engine and charged backwards into the gate and crashed. The gate shuddered down into pieces, and Otis shook himself off, gave the bull a friendly chuff, and peeled out. Otis was heading back toward Mud Creek, where his other friends were, safely down in Mud Creek. And you can see the bull's following him now. The bull followed Otis down the rolling hill, past Mud Creek, and beyond the cornfield. The tornado roared like a freight train as they crossed the meadow. And just as Otis and the bull dove for cover over the bank and into Mud Creek, the tornado touched down, narrowly missing them. And boy, look at that. They're heading right, that tornado's heading right toward them. You can see that great big old tornado there heading right toward them. And they just barely got into Mud Creek before that tornado went right over the top of them. Just barely missed them. Well, there. Otis, the little calf, and the bull, and all the farm friends ducked their heads and closed their eyes. They never heard such a fury or felt such a rage, but they were all safely tucked down in the muddy creek's bed at the lowest part of the farm, and they stayed huddled there until long after the tornado had passed. And you can see they're all huddled up there against their friend Otis. Otis is their primary or main safety. They feel safe when they're around Otis. And they're all huddled around him. Even the bull, you can see even the bull is huddled around Otis. Okay, what's going to happen next? They came out only when it was calm. The animals came out only when it was calm, and the sun started shining. It shined bright, and the birds began to chirp again, and they found a farm that needed great repair. See, the farm was just almost destroyed. There's the trees down, and the barn top had blown off of it.
But some of the trees are not down.
I mean, some of them stayed up, yeah. And the bullpen, look at the bullpen, all shattered. Just a mess.
Shattered.
Yeah. Just a mess. Trees laying on the ground. And all the animals and Otis came up to look. Even the windmill.
Some trees fell down. Even some trees didn't fall down.
But when the work was all over, it was time to play. The farm friends discovered they had a new playmate.
The bull.
This one snorted and stomped his hooves in the dirt. He flared his nostrils and huffed hot air. But instead of a snarl and a glare, he wore a happy grin and a friendly gaze as he took his place in line with Otis and the little calf in a grand game of follow the leader. You see, the old bull's right there with the other animals as they go up the hill playing follow the leader with Otis. And that's the end of the story, Theo. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't you think? Aren't you glad? Don't you hope that Theo enjoyed the story?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of that story. Bye.
Bye.
Great. Push the button.
Yep.
Push the red button.